Hello, Kirsten, welcome back to another weekly vlog, although at this point it's more like a half weekly vlog, but never mind. So what am I reading? Actually, I've read quite a bit. Carrying on from last week, we are still listening to European Travel for Monstrous Gentlemen by Theodora Goss. This is the second book in the Athena Club series and I am loving it. You've probably heard me talk about this series quite a lot on this channel because I do love it so much. But it is basically this group of women that have formed the Athena Club. They are all daughters of people from classic horror literature. So we have Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde's daughter, we have someone from Dr. Moreau's Island, we also have a mention of Frankenstein, and there are just so many other horror classics that have been mentioned and involved within this story. We also have Sherlock Holmes that makes an appearance because the Athena Club solves mysteries, which I absolutely love, and they're trying to solve the mystery of the Society of Alchemists, which all their fathers were a part of, and they're trying to understand why they're doing this to their daughters, what are they hoping to gain from it, and potentially stopping them if they're able. The first book follows the Jack the Ripper murders, and we're seeing how they end up entangled with it all. And then the second book is going on from there. It's a really good series. I absolutely love it. I'm going to try not to gush about it too much because that's all I seem to do. But highly recommend if you enjoy horror classics, definitely give this one a try. It's just brilliant. I am listening to audiobook because I love the narrator. I think she does an amazing job. She has different voices for every single character, which I absolutely love. The way that it's written works really well as an audiobook because it's almost like, in a way, kind of like a podcast type situation, because the book is written as if they are currently writing the book. So you have little points where all of the different characters have their little inserts into commenting about what's been said about the book or elaboration on the storyline. It's just really fun. This book does make me laugh out loud at times, and I do recommend the audiobook on this. It is definitely the way to go. So good. Okay, we're going to stop talking about it because you're going to see a lot of this week. Between Monday evening and this morning, I have actually finished 2 books. Now, they are manga, so they are very short books and they take me about half hour to read, but both have been very enjoyable. At the end of March, I was kind of getting into this like reading slump where I didn't really want to read much, but I was really feeling like reading manga. I definitely dabbled and got a few different manga volumes, so I will be doing a haul video for that at some point. But for now, let's talk about the 2 that I did finish, which was so good. We have Ajin and Tokyo Ghoul. Both of these were very good. They both came out as 4 stars, although I will admit I did prefer Tokyo Ghoul. It was just so much fun. But let me tell you what these are about. So Ajin the Demi-Human is set in a world where there are people called demi-humans, and these are people that can't be killed, and scientists have been experimenting upon them to see what they can learn. Honestly, it is very gruesome, it is very dark. My partner's actually read more of this series than I have. He reads them all on this app on his phone, and he says it gets really dark. So if you're not into like body horror, I wouldn't recommend it because there are definitely some scenes of that in here. But I find it really interesting. We're following this boy who just realised he is a demi-human, and now people are out trying to get him for a reward so that scientists can experiment on him, and he's obviously trying not to be experimented on. I really like it. I think the plot is going to develop really well, but it is quite a dark one, so yeah, be careful with that. And then Tokyo Ghoul is definitely the more light-hearted out of the 2. So we're in this world where there are ghouls. Now, ghouls are basically like human beings, except they want to eat your flesh. And our main character goes out on this date and it ends terribly. I can't talk about too much more past that because of spoilers and stuff in case you do want to read this, but it's just so much fun. I love our main character, he loves books. His ideal date was going to a bookshop, so I'm just like, yeah, you're my kind of person. I like that. It's just fun. I really enjoyed this one a lot more. I feel like you could get more into who the character was in this and just connect with him a little bit more than you could in Ajin, but both of them were very good. Definitely enjoyed both. And I will say one thing that was similar between the 2 is that both our main characters have a friend that is there to help them and won't judge them for anything and is just trying to be as good a friend as they can be, which I really liked about that in both these. Really enjoying these. Do want to carry on with both these series, and if you have any other manga recommendations, please let me know because it is something I'm definitely getting into. Okay, and then the final book that I am reading is The Falconer by Elizabeth May. Now, I picked this book up because Becca from Becca and the Books said if you enjoy A Court of Thorns and Roses, give this one a try. So that's what I'm doing, and I do like it. It's set in Scotland in 18 something, and it's steampunk vibes, so I love that. I'm loving all the steampunk technology that's in it. Our main character does love to create her little gadgets and stuff, which I think is really cool. But we also do have fae and fairies. They're more called fairies here, and they are darker fairies that are out to kill humans all the time, and our main character is hunting them down. I will admit, it's not the best story out there, I'm not gonna lie, but it is really enjoyable in just an easy to read way. Like, it's fast paced, it's easy to read, you really don't have to like focus on the plot too much because you know what's going to happen, but I do like it, and I really love the steampunk Scotland setting. I'm really enjoying that. I like the backstory to our main character, the reason why she's hunting down all these fairies. I like the fact that you can see that there are good ones as well as bad ones out there. I think it is a good, fun story. So if you're looking for something that is a little bit different with a steampunk vibe, added darker fairies, and just something that's a bit fun to read, I would recommend this one. I am just over halfway, so I'm gonna say that I would like to finish this tonight, but whether I can or not, I don't know, because I also want to edit, so I guess we'll see what I end up doing. But yeah, it's been quite a good start to the week, although I do have work today, so I better get going. I hope your week started off well, and like I said, any manga recommendations, please do let me know. But yeah, I gotta go. Good morning. So I don't actually have a massive reading update because Wednesday evening I had the most horrible headache. It was so bad and I just couldn't even focus enough to read anything, so I didn't. But yesterday I did finish The Falconer by Elizabeth May, and you know what, it was good. I found it a fun read, but I will say it's not anything amazing, and I also think, I don't know where this kind of age range places. I think for Waterstones they say it's like an adult, but when I'm reading it, it definitely feels more young adult, so I think I'm going to put it in my young adult shelving. It was okay. Like, I loved the setting. As I've said, I thought the setting was definitely the best part of this book. The rest of it was very predictable, but I didn't mind it because it was such an easy read. Though I will say the ending for me was just like, what? And it was just so frustrating because it just ended in the middle of a battle, and I'm like, why would you end there? And my partner's like, well, it's called a cliffhanger, and I'm like, yes, smart ass, but also not in the middle of a battle. Like, it was no ending, and it just kind of frustrated me. So I'll definitely be getting the next book because I want to find out what happens. And like I said, it's one that's like an easy, fun read. It's a bit tropey, it's a bit like, it's just simple. Honestly, it's a simple, fun read. I can see the parallels if you do like A Court of Thorns and Roses. It's not quite the same, obviously, but it is an interesting one. I do like it, and if you're just looking for a simple read, then give this one a try. I loved the Scottish setting with all the steampunk in it. I really, really enjoyed that. And I did like our character. She's very like headstrong and knows what she wants, even though the society that she's in doesn't really allow it. There is some things that I did enjoy about this book, but I have to say it's not the best one that I've read either. So although it's 3 stars, it's not a bad 3 stars. It's a 3 stars that I enjoyed and happy to continue on with the series. I am still listening to European Travel for Monstrous Gentlewoman, which honestly is a mouthful of a name, but I love it. I've made some good progress on this. I am really enjoying it. It just makes me laugh out loud in places, and I was hoping to get it finished by the end of the week, but I don't think that's actually going to happen. But still enjoying this, and I don't mind that it's taken me a bit longer because I love it so much and I do want it to last. So this is one that I could easily sit down and binge read, but I'm really trying to restrain myself and stick to only listening to it on the audiobook, and then only when I'm like out and about or busy doing other things. So, but this is really fun, really enjoying it. And with that, honestly, I actually don't have many books left on my TBR for the month. I have 5 books left on my TBR, as well as the rest of European Travel. So I think I'm doing pretty well. Now I will say out of those 5, 2 of those books are massive and they are going to take me a little bit longer to finish, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's it really. I haven't done too much because it literally has just been working all week because I'm working from Tuesday to Saturday, so I really haven't been able to do much, and Wednesday with the awful headache, just not great. But never mind. I will stop rambling because I need to go get to work and hopefully have something a bit more interesting to talk about when I next update. Maybe. Right, it's time to finish up this vlog, and once again I don't have much of a reading update, but it's mainly because I have been working so much this week, as I've said. So Saturday evening I did not get much read, and during the day I was at work, and then yesterday I just spent the day with my partner and we just chilled out, and it was just really nice just to relax. I was planning on finishing a book in the evening, but I was editing this video and it's the new editing software that I'm using, which I do really like, but when I film here, which is my preferred reading spot, which is just on my bed in front of my 2 bookshelves for the weekly vlogs, there can be some static sound that my camera picks up, and I'm not quite sure why. It only really happens when I'm here. If I'm in front of my other bookcase, it seems to be fine, but for some reason it always picks up some static, and in the old editing software I managed to find something to kind of cut that out. And for this new editing software, which is DaVinci Resolve, which is a brilliant editing software, it is just very difficult because the interface is very different and a lot more complex. So it took me ages to work out how to do that and how to get rid of like the static sound in my video. So I'm hoping that's all worked now because I spent hours on it yesterday. So the book I was planning to finish, I did not finish. But I do only have 40 pages of it left to go, and that is Dr. Moreau's Island by H.G. Wells. And this is a creepy horror classic, I'm not gonna lie. So obviously the cover itself is just creepy looking. It is a short story, it's only 100 pages long, which is why I thought I'll just be able to get it all done in one sitting. That did not happen. But yeah, this is actually really disturbing. We are following Edward Prendick, who is shipwrecked and ends up on this unusual island with these 2 other men and all these very peculiar creatures, and it turns out that these 2 other men are performing experiments on animals, and it is really disturbing. I found it very creepy in places, and yeah, I have to admit there were times in this book where I was genuinely disturbed. I can think of no better word, to be quite honest. I have to admit that is what makes it a great horror classic, because you can get that disturbed within just 60 pages of this book. So it is impressive to me, but yeah, very disturbing book. And the reason why I wanted to pick this up is because of the other book that I'm currently listening to, and that's European Travel for Monstrous Gentlewomen. So this is a tribute to horror classics, and one of the horror classics that was mentioned a lot in Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter, which is the first book in this series, was The Island of Dr. Moreau, and that is because one of our characters in here are from the island. And the other horror classics that are referenced to I know, so I was like, yep, I know those, I get all the references, but for this one it's one of the horror classics which I just didn't know. Yeah, never even realised it was a book, to be quite honest. And then when I was reading about it in here, I was like, okay, I really want to read this and see where the inspiration has come from, and I have to admit it is done very well, all the inspiration that has been taken from it. I think it works very well. The characters are very true to what we found in this so far. I love doing that. I love seeing where our stories like retellings and twists on the classics and stuff came from, so I think it's always worth picking up a classic book. And I will say this one is really accessible to read. I find that with short stories in classics, they can be a lot easier to read. With some of the bigger classic books, they are a lot more dense, there's a lot more focus on the descriptions and everything. Whereas in these short ones, I don't find that anywhere near as much, and I find these just so easy to read and easy to get into. So yeah, I would highly recommend this actually. It is disturbing, there is trigger warnings for animal torture and cruelty and stuff, but I do still think it's a very good book so far. I will be finishing this up, fingers crossed, tonight. I always say that and then something always goes wrong, but fingers crossed I will. And then you can see what star rating I end up giving this in my next weekly vlog. That is what I'm currently physically reading, and of course I am still listening to European Travel for Monstrous Gentlewomen and still loving this. I will admit this has taken me so much longer than what I thought, but that is just because I'm limiting myself to audiobook only. Mainly just because it means I can read other books at the same time and actually get through my TBR this month, because there are some chunky books left on my TBR. This is just so good as an audiobook. Anyway, I have, I think, about 7 hours left on the audiobook and I'm just loving it. Even though I'm reading it slowly, I still genuinely feel this is a 5-star book. I am loving every single part of it. We get so many different perspectives from our characters in here. We're following the different stories because different things are happening with different characters, but it just works so well. And I've said so many times in these videos, but if you like horror classics, you're really going to love this. And I just love all the settings and the writing stuff, everything. It is an amazing book. And yes, I'm taking my time with it, but I genuinely don't mind that. I genuinely think taking my time with this has allowed me to enjoy it that much more, because I know as soon as I finish this, I'm going to want to get onto the third book straight away, and that's not on this month's TBR, so I've got to wait. But yeah, it's just a really, really good book, and yeah, taking me longer than what I thought, but fingers crossed I will get this finished next week. Hopefully, we'll see. But I don't really mind because I always have an audiobook and then a physical book on the go at the same time, so the fact that it's an audiobook that I'm genuinely loving, I don't mind at all. Anyway, I'm gonna go because that was very rambly. Shops are finally opening today in the UK, which I'm super excited for, but I do have work and I know that the queues for all the shops are going to be mad, just like last time. I will probably skip going to the shops and just wait till my day off, which isn't for a few days. But anyway, I hope you've all had an amazing week. Do let me know what you got up to, what have you enjoyed most, what have you been reading. And as always, if you've liked this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe. My social media links will be linked below, and I will catch you in the next one.